All right, guys. So at the point of filming this, in a little bit over 30 hours, the Oakland City Council will vote on whether, Howard Terminal could be a possibility. If they vote no, the A's are going to move. If they vote yes, the A's still could move, but it'll be highly unlikely considering that they would have the opportunity to build and stay in a very nice venue in Oakland. So we're crossing our fingers for that outcome, but we're kind of expecting the worst just because I don't want to get my hopes up if the A's are going to end up moving and, I'd be wasting all that time and energy and hope. So I've obviously made plenty of videos talking about relocation, talking about my, opinions on it as a fan, talking about it, kind of the odds of it happening, the details, specifics, everything. But, now with just over 30 hours to go in this process, really, although, the decision on Tuesday isn't set in stone. However, I think it's time to talk about what the transition to being a San Francisco fan, if the A's move, what would it look like? Because, I've talked about, how I would switch to an SF fan, which obviously has gotten some backlash as expected. Obviously there's probably a lot of people that disagree with me, and that's fine with it. I'm fine with you disagreeing with the fact that I would switch two teams because that's just the way I am. I love going to games, and the fact of the matter is I wouldn't be able to do that with Las Vegas teams. But I would with SF teams, and there's no point in going to many games a year if you're not even going to root for the team or heck even like the team. So yeah. So if the council votes no, they're going to move, right? And if that happens, the process will officially start. Now, when I say process, I don't mean I'm going to officially switch to Niners and Giants right away. What I mean is I'm going to start buying 49ers and Giants merchandise. And the funny thing is I'll probably have 3 years to do so if the A's move, because the Coliseum lease is up in 2024, and it could even be longer than that. But, 2024 is the set date right now. So that would give me 3 years to pretty much start over half of my collection, because A's and Raiders is half of my, collection roughly, because Sharks and Warriors makes out about half of it. But that would give me 3 years to start collecting jerseys, learning about the team's history, even though I know most of it anyways, but, kind of just becoming a fan, assimilating into a new system, and kind of starting this full-on transition. And that would start, even the day after, the move would be announced, which could be, weeks, months, we don't really know from now. So the funny thing is, though, I would still be a Raider and A's fan until the A's physically move out of Oakland. A common misconception, and I talked about it on my live stream a little bit, about this transition is that I would switch right away. No, if the A's are still playing in Oakland, which they will for a couple more years, assuming they move, I will still be a fan. I want to root for them while they're here. I don't want to just, put them out of my life when they're still in the area. So I'll still be a fan, but I will no longer buy A's merch or Raiders. I'll wear it, the existing merch I have, but I won't buy any additional merch because what would be the point? So that would start, and I wouldn't be able to wear it for a couple of years, but it would give me time to get a lot of jerseys, hats, and just start over, really start fresh. So yeah. So that was pretty much half of what I was going to mention. And the other half was the YouTube channel. Obviously, it's called A's, Raiders, Dub Sharks for a very obvious reason. But if the A's move and the Raiders, I stop being a fan of them for the same reason as the A's, what would happen to the channel, right? So just to make it clear, the channel would no longer be A's, Raiders, Dub Sharks when the A's move. So that could be 2024, could even be 2026, because they've talked about the lease of the Coliseum, but that's kind of besides the point. So the same time I start wearing Niners and Giants stuff, which I assume would be in that year, 2024, the channel would change its name. And I mean, I'm assuming I'm still doing this in 3 years. Maybe, that we'll play that by ear, but, it really comes down to the lease. And I think, just being a fan of San Francisco teams, it's something I don't want to do. I love the teams I like for a reason, but it's just something I have to do. I don't really have a choice. And, a lot of people are disagreeing with me. It's fine. You can stay a fan of the A's if you want, but I just don't really support a team that just picks up their stuff and moves like that. And I know I stuck with the Raiders, but I'm fine rooting for one team outside of the area, but two is just it's too much for me. It's overwhelming, and I wouldn't be able to go to games for anymore. So that's kind of how it would work. So there's two main components: buying merchandise up until 24 and beyond, 2024 and beyond, and changing the name of the channel when the A's physically move out of Oakland, right? If they are in Oakland, then I'm still an A's fan. I'm still a Raiders fan. But if the A's are out of Oakland, it's all over. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you disagree or agree with this. I'd be curious to know. And yeah, see you guys later.